The Nasdaq, SPY, IWM, Dow Jones, and every index in sight made new highs today. It's like the old Oprah gif, you get a new high and you get a new high. Everybody's making new highs today as the market was in a buying mood. As you can see, the Nasdaq gained 544 points or 2.95% on well above average volume, 44% above average volume, and closed near its high as it traded at an all-time high, closed at an all-time high, hit that 19,000 and backed off just a little bit. So looks good if we want to take a look at the 5-minute chart. You can see just buying all day. And there's a lot of stocks that look exactly like this, just like they turn the machines on and there's a buy, buy, buy. So good news for us longs, and we had to be flexible this week because the index undercut the 21 here. We had to put the caution sign on, and then when it rallied back through the moving averages on Tuesday, we put the green light back on and put a few more stocks on the ready list. I'm going to get to some of them in a minute, but this definitely looks like a, if you will, on the index, one of those, Darvis box breakouts here, as it's been consolidating for a long time. So there you go. Nice clean breakout with volume. So that's always a positive, regardless of the news. Whenever you see an index like any index move like that, this is a positive thing. We like new highs in our stocks and we like new highs in the indexes. This is the SPY with the new high, the Dow Jones Industrial Average with the new high, big move here, 1,500 points or 3.57%. A hell of a move for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, obviously a new high. And the one I wanted to mention is the IWM, because this one is the one that was the winner of the day, up nearly 6%. And look at that volume. So this is definitely a strong breakout above that old high there at 228. It stands to reason that lower interest rates, which Powell will be speaking tomorrow, Jerome Powell, it's widely anticipated he lower rates, and this will benefit the help me out here, smaller cap stocks. Anyway, we had an election yesterday, and there was a clear-cut winner with no disputes, and the losing candidate is making a concession speech. So there will be no disputes and a transition of power. So that's the way the system should work. So I think the market really likes that there's a clear winner, and that there's not going to be any disputes. It's not going to be dragging on and on and on. And that's part of what I think helped the Nasdaq and all the others indexes today. Just buying. You can see they just turned on the buy programs and just bought all day. I did want to mention one thing about the Nasdaq, and that it's 5.5% above that 50. We know when it gets about 6%, it gets a little wonky, and it can get up to 7, 8, 9%, but it'll eventually come back. We know that, as it did when it was here in July 11th. It was 6.5% above, and it just pulled back. So anyway, enough of that nonsense. All right, I just want to get into, I don't want to get political at all. I just want to say that with the results from that election last night, there was a CEO of a major company like Tesla who was involved with the winning side, I guess I would say. And that stock stands to benefit from, I don't know, it's all speculative right now about, what's going to happen. But that's what we like to do. We like to speculate. That's what we do as investors. We want to speculate about the future. And anyway, this is a nice breakout for Tesla there at that 264.86. Like we've seen this, some people call it a waterfall, but really it's just a bull wedge pattern back to the 21 and then bouncing. So nice technical move for Tesla. A lot of the mega cap tech stocks, and like I said, I don't want to get political, but this current administration has been pretty harsh on M&A activity, and we haven't seen as much M&A, and it's good for the consumer. I mean, I see both sides. It's good for the consumer, but it has put some stress, with their they've got suits, lawsuits against these companies. And so the thought is that the next administration will be more lax, but you don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So it's just speculation, and Amazon was up on that speculation. Google's had a lot of trouble with the Department of Justice recently, and so it saw a little bit of a boost today. And Apple, of course, they've all got their suits, and have their problems. Apple was flat on the session, and then Meta Platforms, Zuck might not see eye to eye with the new administration. Who knows? Like I say, it's all speculative. You just want to trade what you see. I showed you earlier in the week where everybody thought, this administration would be really good for the solar, and we saw that it didn't work out that way. So don't get too dogmatic in your themes and stick to your sell rules. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. Did I miss one? Meta, Google, Amazon, oh, Microsoft. Yeah, it's up 2%. Nice day. And NVIDIA had a nice day as well, up 4%. What else? Oh, Broadcom. I'm going to go through a couple semiconductors here. I'm going to get to these at the end of this program here. Hopefully, I'm not going to take too long today. And then Astera Labs has been one that gapped higher on Tuesday, and then yeah, it opened up lower today and then tacked on a new high today. See this trading here is a gap lower. This is the earnings gap on Tuesday, then a gap lower on Wednesday, and just buying all day long. So if you're able to, not freak out and you wanted to buy this thing and it was down like $6-7, you had a chance to get in today. And you could see towards the end of the day, it made that new high and closed near the high, 96% of its daily range. So yeah, new high, big volume coming in on this stock. I went through this yesterday about the IPOs. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to try to keep this fairly, I don't know. I'm going to probably ramble on because that's what I do. These videos are too long. Anyway, the knee-jerk reaction to the election results, and then there's no dispute. And so going forward, I just want to talk a little bit about the earnings from this morning and that NVO, and there's some, they had good earnings. You look down here, 22, 23, 28% sales growth. So it's accelerating sales growth the last 3 quarters. It's just they did, I listened to the call, a little bit of it, and they said, oh, the compounders like HIMSS, that there's been like 10 deaths because they cannot replicate the drug, and 10 people have died with their weight loss drug, the compounds. This thing was up 13% because Lilly and Novo have not been able to manufacture enough. And so maybe with this new administration, the Novo Catalent deal will go through and they could manufacture more. But I think the demand's there. It's just, um, yeah, and the sales are there and there's earnings growth, but I don't know. I think Novo will have a better year in 2025 than they did in 2024. That's not saying much. All right, moving on. Celsius, Celsius. This is whatever they do, that's just going to sell off. You can see the numbers down here are not very good. Celsius is just in a stage 4 decline. This is classic stage 4. If you follow Weinstein at all, you can see the different stages here. The flat stage, advanced stage, they can't get out of jail, can't, go any higher, and then your stage 4 decline. So, and then, it could start all over if they can reaccelerate growth, but that is radioactive, dead money. Do not even look at it. Lantheus down 20% after their report today. You can see decelerating sales and earnings growth there, so not ideal. It's always about the forward guide too. CVS, not a stock that I'm interested in, but they did report and went up 11%. Like if your stock didn't go up 11% today, I was like, there's something wrong. I saw somebody saying that their stock was only up like 13%, and they were whining about it. I said that could be the signs of a top, although I don't think it's a top, but that's kind of the things that you'll see near a top. Anyway, Howmet Aerospace, the aerospace stock, the defense stocks have been doing really well, up 12% following its earnings report. Toyota Motor, another one that I'm not really interested in, but and they were flat on the session. And the last one is CRL, Charles River Labs. Medical research was up 13%. So that was it for the earnings. And there's a lot of good stuff I'm going to get to today, but I want to stay balanced. I want to keep it in perspective. I just wanted to point out that not all stocks were up today. Nike was down 3.5%. Crocs was down 2.3%. Estee Lauder, and if you know where I'm going with this, you probably already know. If you're not guessing, you will know that these companies have their goods manufactured in China, and there's thought that there could be more tariffs. So this is more of the speculation, nobody knows what the heck anybody's going to do, but you got to speculate. So that's what Wall Street does. And so that's why those stocks were down. And then also the home builders, Builder First Source is, the rates, the yields ramped a little bit. So yeah, down 3%. Pulte and what DHI, right? Okay. So that's enough of that. Just had to get some of the negative out of the way. All right. So I mentioned crypto with the Tesla CEO being part of it. He's a big crypto guy. This administration, once again, speculating that they might be friendlier towards crypto. And so MicroStrategy was up 13%. Robinhood benefited, up nearly 20%. Coinbase was up like 30%. Yeah, 31%. That's a nice day. So like I said, they just turned the buy programs on. And this is Block, which is, got a help me out here. They're going to report earnings tomorrow, but broke out today. Definitely crypto stock right there. Square. Anyway, anything related to crypto. I'm not going to go through all of them. I do want to get to the banks though, because when you see Wells Fargo going up 13% in a day, that's got to be its biggest move in a long, 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 long time. I didn't really research it because I don't care about Wells Fargo, even though I do bank with them. But we see this, we've seen this a lot lately. Just like forget the news, right? Forget the news, forget anything happened. You could just see this thing came up, made a new high, then pulled back to its moving averages on lighter volume, then popped. Regardless, if you didn't know any news or anything, you just say, oh, that's probably an earnings breakout or whatever. But that's definitely a gap up. 13%, man, for Wells Fargo. So, if you own a bank stock and it didn't go up 10% today, that's a problem. Once again, Goldman Sachs, that same type of pattern here, where it makes that new high of 540, pulls back to the moving average on the lighter volume, and then today pops on massive volume, 13%. Morgan Stanley, the big banks really, rampaging. Another, same type of pattern here, what makes a new high, pulls back to moving average on lighter volume, and then pops. So the banks look very good. Did I do Jamie Dimon's company, JPM? Yeah, same thing. Just this little wedge pattern. We've seen this work a lot lately. All right. And I wanted to show one that wasn't one of these massive banks, very small, but 500 million market cap. But right there at 3183, that is power through the pivot, Jack. Man, yeah, 19% move with that kind of power. So anyway, it looks good. Very thinly traded stock, but I'm just trying to show that there's it's not just one or two big names. It's all of them. All of them went higher. Piper Sandler, another 19.5, 20% move with volume. Same pattern here. Pull back to the 50 and popped higher. And then last one I'm going to show the banks because I could do this all day. There was like 5 pages of banks that made new highs today. This is KeyCorp. 16% move. This has got a 19 billion market cap, so not a real small bank. And you can see, if you just looked at this without knowing any news, you'd say, that looks like a buy. It's making new highs. It's going to go higher because stocks that make new highs tend to make more new highs, just like the market is doing, like the indexes, I should say. It's not just going to make one new high, then falter and crash. Usually they go on to make multiple subsequent new highs. All right, that's it for the bank. Sorry about that. I don't know. Some of you might like banks. This is the electrical power group this is I call it Jerome Powell. He's going to speak tomorrow. Hopefully lower interest rates and the market gets what it wants. It's still going to be volatile regardless. It always is. Once again, folks, I haven't been putting these on the ready list and I probably should. But these little pullbacks to the 21 and then the pop, right? PAL has just been a monster stock. Vertiv Holdings is another one. Pulls back to the 21. I mean, I just, and then popped the last couple of days. Today had a little better volume, up 7%. So it's kind of a laggard today. If you're not over 10%, you're a laggard. And then GNRC, I called this the hurricane stock, but it really isn't. I mean, a lot of people are getting alternate sources of power for their homes. Once again, made that high of 176, pulled back. That, I believe, was earnings day where it dropped down to the 50, and it's been up every day since. And you could see the volume. It was only up 1% today. But just showing some of these energy plays. We talked earlier in the week about the, I don't know, the problem with the Amazon deal and Talon. And this is Vistra, which pulled back to its 50 and now popped the last couple of days. CEG reported earnings Monday. Yeah, had a real bad day on Monday. And then the last 2 days is tried to get back over that 50. So that's what that stock needs to do. And I mentioned Talon, so I might as well show this stock. This one pulled back because of, well, we'll see. We'll just see what happens with the Amazon deal. I think it's just a bunch of noise and eventually it'll go through. But 197.61 would be the buy point there for Talon, if it can make it above that box, then it'll probably have some resistance there at 200, as those large numbers seem to be a problem. Anyway, it can break out of that box and crash through 200. We'd love that. All right, I'm going to move on to another group. This is the jail group. The jail stocks were. Oh, what am I doing here? GEO. Okay. Yeah, this is a nice cup with handle pattern here and breaking out. Once again, pulling back to the moving average here the last few sessions as it forms that handle, that shakeout before the breakout, regardless of the news. I mean, 400 and what is it? 400, excuse me, 42% move. You can't argue with that. I don't know. I'm dyslexic today. I can't figure this out. This is Core Civic popping again, 29%. And then some of the, police, military, the Taser, the old Taser, and AXON stock popped after the pullback to the 21. It's popped. So, yeah, these are all looking good. You look good. Clear, secure. Another move of 5%. Anyway, just pointing out that there's just a lot of different groups doing well. The biotechs did pretty well. The thought that, less regulation, perhaps, you never know. But and more M&A, mergers and buyouts with a less restrictive administration. But who knows? This is BLTE, very thinly traded stock, making new highs. TGTX, I had this one on the ready list. This one is just stubborn. It's going to be stubborn. They reported earnings on Monday morning and it traded down to the 50, found support, and has been up ever since. Let's take a look at the 10-minute chart here. Yeah, that's Monday morning, report earnings, shake everybody out. And then what happens? Buy, right? So you got to watch for those earnings moves. They're just shakeouts. They're just designed to shake you out and take out your stop loss. And people who abide by their rules, which you should, if you had a stop loss there and you got shaken out, you can always buy it back. And usually when I like to buy a stock back, I buy a little bit more on the way up. RYTM, another biotech name, breaking out of a base here. This looks fantastic, up 11.5%. Look at the volume here. So Rhythm Pharmaceuticals, I believe that's an earnings move. I didn't delve into that one too much because I'm not interested in buying it. Not when a stock's extended like that. I had a lot of people saying, should I buy it today? Should I buy it today? Well, that's your choice. You can always buy anything at any time if you buy it small. You're not going to get crushed. And if you use your sell rules, then you can just get out with a small loss. So don't have anxiety over it, or don't fret over it. If you want to buy something, buy it. And if it works against you, then you sell it. If it starts going your way, you can add to it. Anyway, that's my philosophy. And I'm going to move on. to the man, I've been showing these a lot lately, and they just keep, this is a nice trend here, and today popped 13%. This is US Lime Minerals, thinly traded name, but I'm just showing these construction names. This is Knife River, 10% move. Wow, cracked 100. We'll see if it has any troubles there. Pulled back to the 50. I believe that was earnings on Monday, and then popped higher. So that looks pretty good. And then ROAD. I'm not going to show all these because you can look around and find a ton of stocks that moved higher today. I'm just trying to stay with the theme here. This one pulled back to its 10 and then just kind of squatted there and then popped today. And they don't have earnings until December 9th. But that's a nice move for Road. All right. That's enough construction. I've got to go to my friend, Mr. Yuri Sola at Sanmina. A nice pop today, 13%. Thank you very much. Tried calling him and got voicemail today with the Solar Brothers. They're not talking to me. I'll call them back later tonight and just congratulate them, right? Flex, new high. It's always, when you work at a company and your stock's making new highs and breaking out like this, it's always good for morale because everyone's a shareholder. And this is Flex, another one of these electrical contracting manufacturing stocks making new highs. And these are not expensive stocks. They're not really granted, high PEs or high multiples, but nice 7% move. And then Plexus, another company in that same space, thinly traded, but up 10% and making new highs. So that's always welcomed. All right, that's it for the contract manufacturing. Then now I've got to go to the group. I kind of been teasing a little bit about the boomers retiring and spending all their kids' inheritance. And these stocks have just been flying. Carnival, up another 8% today. You can see how this is just broken out and just consistently. This is what I'm talking about here. When you want to buy a stock, right? This thing pulls back and then it rides higher, then it pulls back a little bit, trades higher, pulls back. So you want to be buying when they pull back here and pull back here. That's when you want to buy. This one, kind of made a little shelf pattern back to the 10. So that's when you want to buy when they pull back. We're in a real strong uptrend here. So these things are not going to, just make nice little pretty bases for us. They're going to make it hard to buy. Norwegian Cruise Liners. This one I think is the same type of pattern here. Buy the dips and sell the rips right there. And NCLH. These things. I don't know. Which one do I have here? Viking. I mean, you could pick any one. They're just flying high, making new highs. So I believe that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, that the boomers are taking money out of their 401ks and spending it. All the airline stocks today were just 7%. Delta has broken out. Alaska, long gone. Just take your pick. It's like shooting fish in a barrel here. This is United Airlines up, 9%. I'm certainly not going to buy United Airlines up like that. It's 11% above the 10. It's very rare to see airline stocks do this, but there's a reason for it. So you don't have to know the reason. The reason is there's more buyers than sellers. You can see these big blue bars, and that's not Aunt Sally buying that stock. So yeah, all those cruise lines, airlines, that's my theme that the boomers are just spending their money, having a good time, living their best life. Nothing wrong with that. Software, I've got to go to a couple software names because I do have a couple on my list this week. This is GoDaddy. You can see this is a beautiful cup with handle pattern. Breakout today, 5%. Actually, the breakout was probably this day, huh? Up to only 3%, but there's that big volume. Then it pulled back to moving average. We were cautious here earlier in the week, probably Monday, Tuesday, and then the last two sessions have been, they recaptured their moving averages, and we've gone to green, so we're a little more aggressive. This is a nice breakout for GoDaddy, and then DoorDash. This is one of my favorite charts right now on the weekly. Is just big base here, cup with handle breakout. It's up like 9 weeks in a row. And I know some people saying, should I buy DoorDash? Should I buy DoorDash? Well, once again, you should have brought it before today, but it's extended now. but every time it comes back to the moving average, it gets support. So next time, and it will, that moving average is rising rapidly. It's going to come back to that 10, and if it finds support and starts to bounce, then you can dive in. Spotify is another one that I like. Not really, up 2% today. No great shakes, but finding support at the 21. It's just riding the 21. As long as that 21 is going higher and the stock stays above the 21, then guess what? You're doing well. All right. Thank you for watching. That's it for me today. I don't think I have any more software names. I could go through a ton of them. I can go through a ton of stocks. I mean, a lot of stocks were much higher today. The breadth was fantastic. So this is what we like. We're in a bull market. We're in a strong uptrend, and there's nothing to do but watch our money grow. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Except for at mcstockcharts.com, I have one more thing. In honor of the great Steve Jobs, we have some earnings tonight, and I'm going to get to more earnings in the morning. But I want to point out the AppLovin tonight up 28%. I did not hear their conference call. I was looking for some data. I think it started at 5 p.m. Eastern time, which we're on different time now, or it's a mess. Yeah, I think they're on the West Coast, so it was 2 p.m. on the West Coast, which would be 5 p.m. Eastern time. So they're a Palo Alto company, and obviously morale's good there. It's up 217. This thing's just been a monster. And if I go to the weekly, you're gonna be able to see this thing's gonna be off the charts tomorrow. It's gonna be gapping up somewhere around here. Here we are, AppLovin, folks, right here, going higher. How about that? Just going north, folks. All right. So AppLovin looks good. And Elf reported a quarter today that was pretty darn good. A beat and raise quarter. They beat handily. They raised guidance. When you're down like this, when you're like in a stage 4 decline, it's hard to dig out of here because you have all this overhead supply that people are, holding the stock. They bought it 140 or 130, 150, and once it gets back to even, they're going to sell it. So you're going to run into some selling as this thing tries to make its way back up to, I don't know, 150 maybe, who knows. It should be going through that uh, tomorrow, the 10-week line, or the 50 SMA is 113.80, so it's right at it. So tomorrow that's going to be a point of resistance there, and if it could get through there, that would be fantastic. It's pretty heavily shorted stock, so we'll see what happens with ELF tomorrow. But all they can do is report good numbers, and that's what they did. Qualcomm is another one that was up after hours. Strong report, yeah, up 7%. And then ARM was down, yeah, 4%. I thought they had a beat and raise quarter, but I didn't really check. Duolingo, they're kind of gauged on their back to 300. Okay, not bad. That 300 is going to be a magnet, I guess. But new subscribers is what drives that stock. Okay, I did App Elf, Duolingo, ARM, Qualcomm. Oh, MELI. MELI was getting sold, and after hours, yeah, down 9%, $187. Big numbers, big number stock. And then Bros. Bros recorded a nice quarter. I'm still of the theme that they are taking market share from Starbucks, and it's up 17% after hours. It's had a real rough time since the last quarter here, this gap lower. And now, tomorrow it looks like it's going to trade back up near that 40 level. So good for the bro. CPRX is a biotech stock. They usually report pretty good numbers. Yeah. And it's up near 24. So new highs for possibly new highs for Catalyst. And the last one is IONQ. They reported a pretty good quarter. They missed on what they do. They missed on EPS. They beat on sales. I think they raised guidance and they announced some partnership or whatever, but selling off 4% after hours. Uh, you know, 80 cents, no big deal. All right. That's it for me. Really, this time I'm going to go. I'm going to have more stuff in the morning. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening.